Hi there. So you've been offered some help from someone called the speech pathologist, but aren't quite sure what they do or how they can help you. Well, today we're going to run through some of the important frameworks entry-level speech pathologists must abide by to ensure they provide you with the right support you need. So what is a speech pathologist? A speech pathologist, or you may have heard the word speechy, can help you in a variety of ways, such as supporting you with swallowing issues, or if you need support with how you can say certain words. Speech pathologists working in the disability sector must follow a few different frameworks. It might help to think of a framework like building a house. You need to lay down the proper foundations and have the right structure set up first before you can finish building the perfect home to live in. Today we'll be looking at 4 different frameworks: the ICF, CBOS, SPA Code of Ethics, and the NDIS Quality Safeguarding Framework. Let's start with the ICF. The ICF stands for the International Classification of Functioning Disability and Health. The World Health Organization, otherwise known as WHO, introduced their first framework in 1980. In 2001, the WHO realized it needed a revamp and began working on what we know as the ICF now. According to the WHO, one of their main aims is to establish a common language for describing health and health-related states, which helps customers like yourself and allied healthcare workers such as speech pathologists to communicate more clearly. The ICF uses a model seen here. The model is multidimensional, meaning it is made up of 4 parts which interconnect with each other. Part 1 relates to body functions and structures of a person and any impairment they may have. Part 2 relates to the activity someone takes part in and any limitations they may have. Part 3 relates to the involvement in all areas of a person's life and any restrictions they may experience. And Part 4 relates to the person's environment and any barriers or facilitators they may experience. All entry-level speech pathologists will use this model to ensure they take into account all areas of your daily life and to ensure they communicate clearly with fellow health professionals and their customers. Moving on to CBOS. CBOS stands for Competency-Based Occupational Standards for Speech Pathologists. CBOS was initially developed in 1994, with the newest revised version being 2011. According to Speech Pathology Australia, SPA, the national peak body for all speech pathologists, the main purpose of CBOS is to define the minimum skill level and areas of competence that the public has a right to expect of an entry-level speech pathologist. The easiest way to understand CBOS is using a mind map as shown. Firstly, CBOS interrelates with the SPA Code of Ethics and the ICF. As we head to range of practice, an entry-level speech pathologist must be able to support paediatric and adult customers with both developmental and acquired disorders in 6 areas: language, speech, swallowing, voice, fluency, and multimodal communication. CBOS then has 5 principles that outline the basics and upper boundaries of an entry-level speech pathologist, such as showing that they have and can work with a range of other professionals within their own sectors. The final element of CBOS outlines the standards set and the expectations of an entry-level speech pathologist. These are divided into 7 units. Units 1 to 4 outline what a speech pathologist does with the customer, such as completing assessments and making goals. Unit 5 focuses on providing the service, such as managing workload, and Unit 6 and 7 outline what a new speech pathologist would do as a professional in their field, such as continuing to learn new skills and advocating on the behalf of their customers. Now, Code of Ethics. In 2010, SPA developed a Code of Ethics. Think of it as the rules and regulations that make sure your speech pathologist is providing you with the best service possible. The reason why we need these rules is to make sure that all speech pathologists are abiding by the same rules. The Code of Ethics is divided into 3 sections: values, principles, and standards of practice. Values are made up of 4 key components: respect and care, integrity, professionalism, and continuing to provide quality support. Code of Ethics principles are used as a basis for all decision-making, such as being fair, respectful, and always telling the truth. The standards of practice that speech pathologists must abide by covers how they support their customers and the community, their duties to their employer, duty to the profession and themselves, and lastly, duty to their colleagues. So what do you need to know out of all of this? The Code of Ethics outlines that their duty to you is to gain consent, they must provide you with accurate information on time, and must meet professional competency standards. So we move on to the NDIS Quality and Safeguarding Framework. Now, you most would have likely heard about the NDIS, which stands for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, fully established in 2016 and based on the UN Convention of the Rights of a Person with a Disability. There are 7 key parts to the framework as shown here. So, we hope you now understand a little bit more about speech pathology. If you would like to hear any more information, we've provided some links at the end of this presentation for you to explore on your own. Thank you so much for joining us.